name is Hilight, and I'm with Tata, Aiko, and IQ. And today we'll be interviewing Mr.Apirak Kosayodhin.
สวัสดีครับ
a former Bangkok Governor and founder of the food company. So, สวัสดีค่ะ. I'm very honored to have you today, and it is such a great opportunity for students to be able to explore and learn more about the food from another's perspective and pave the way to being a successful entrepreneur. So please allow me to ask my first question. Based on your experience at many companies, what do you think is the key to being a successful entrepreneur?
Yes. Well, I would say that from my past experience, I started my working career almost like 40 years ago. I'm graduated in food science and technology and management. But also I spent close to like over 20 years working in a corporate like PepsiCo, which is including all type of food, working for the corporate of global entertainment company like GMM Grammy, and also the global the mobile phone like Orange before I entered politics as the elected governor of Bangkok. I think the first thing which is very important, you need to exactly know what is your strength and weakness. And that's really key, that because if you know exactly what you could do best, and that would help you to drive what you really believe and what you could do much better compared to others. That's number one. Secondly, the other thing which is very important is you may need to look into what type of business that could be sustainable growth, and that could be relevant not only for today, but also for the future generation also. And that's, if you look into my past experience, even though I have been all kind of variety of type of business, but almost all the business that I work for is really focused on the type of the new generation of all the time throughout my career. So that's very important, that the key to success is that you may need to know or look into the future that what type of the business would be sustainable growth, and that could be not only doing good for your business, but if your business is do good for the society, for others, that would help your business to grow effectively. And that's very important, that you may look into what they call the global megatrend. Global megatrend would be very helpful nowadays. That would help you to learn and to see what type of business that would be successful in some other part of the world. And since the consumer nowadays is pretty much, live into new kind of lifestyle, which is pretty much the same or almost any place, whether you live here in Thailand or in some other part of the world, like in Asia, in the US, or in the Europe. So that would be the key to success. And the last but not least is very important, is that you need to have a very strong kind of passion, to look into what your future as your purpose or your kind of goal. The goal needs to be clear. You need to have a clear purpose, what type of business or what type of contribution you like to drive, for the community. And you just simply work it, with your own passion, and that you help. You will have full kind of energy. You don't need to work like 9 to 5. So that would be key to the success, as I have been learning for the last 30, 40 years.
Thank you for your response to that question. So now I would like to ask you, how do you cultivate that sense of self-awareness?
Well, I would say that, most of some of the awareness or the learning that I have depends on you need to work in anything that you do, a kind of like a hands-on. You need to work very committed. You need to be hands-on on anything you work, rather than just simply, dreaming or imagination alone, because that would help. Exactly, that would be work or not, and that could help you sometimes learning from mistake. To be honest, I would say the new entrepreneur, you need to work very hard, It's not very easy because nowadays, things has been changing very fast. So you need to be very committed. You need to work very hard. And if you do something wrong, don't give up. Just simply do it again. And learning from your mistake. So that would be, to me, the key that you could know, and learning, from what you have been doing.
My next question would be, how do you define leadership as an entrepreneur?
Well, I would say, nowadays leadership is not only you have to be the owner of the business, you have to be the founder of the business, or you need to be a kind of, CEO of the business. But the leadership could be in every part of your organization. And that would be very good for you as the entrepreneur or as the owner of the business. Because if other people that work for you just simply rely on you, that may have some kind of limitation that you would be only the one who drive the business. But if you could, inspire, your team, you could have common goal, and you could bring, the kind of working environment to help support them. That would help inspire them to be much more effective, to help working towards the same goal. So I would say that would be the key, that I normally would doing that way.
To add on to the question, you have managed and lead a lot of people. Could you tell us your leadership style and how you are able to manage and lead a team efficiently?
Well, to me, I would like to work to set the example, a kind of leadership by example. For example, if I like to do something, if I think it's very important, I'll show them, I'll do it, I just simply do it rather than just wait and see and ask other people to do it. So I'll set the example. My leadership style is that, I'll set the example, what I really believe. And it's very important you may need to take risks, because leadership is like you do something that sometimes other people don't willing to do. You need to motivate them. You need to show them the way. It's not, you don't know whether it would be success or not, right? You may need to take risks, and that's called leadership, right?
You have worked with private sectors and also managing Bangkok as a governor. Can you tell us some difference between those two?
It's very different, in many senses, because, when you work for private sector, you need to meet consumer needs, you maximize shareholder values. It's something that you make business related, right? But when you work as the elected governor of Bangkok, it's more like public service. You not only look for yourself, but you look for the benefit, of the people who live or spend their life in Bangkok, which is like 10, 12 million people. When you look at the company, you have probably like less than 100 staff in your company. But working as the elected governor of Bangkok, you have to look after the well-being of like 10, 12 million people. And that could be Thai, that could be expat who live here in Thailand, or that could be someone who live in upcountry and just simply travel to Bangkok or send their children, to study in Bangkok. So that's a very big role, okay? And of course, in big organizations like Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, we have close to 100,000 staff, because it's like 40,000 kind of official working in the city hall and working in 50 districts. They have 50 districts in Bangkok. And they also have the people who look after the cleanliness on the street. You see, they just simply clean up, every morning, things like that. Or when they have heavy rain, they have the flood. You need to have, someone who look after, how to drain the water. So that's very big role and very important. But again, one thing that's simply the same, I would say. Okay, the role might be different, interest might be different, but things would be the same. You need to have a goal. You need to have a clear direction of what needs to be done and what's the priority. So no matter what is private sector or the business or it's public service, it's more or less the same. You need to have a goal, you need to set priority. And you need to be very effective on management. You know, the key to success is management, how you better manage. You know, I mean, small company or private sector or manage the city. So you may need to do research, you need to survey, you need to work hands-on, you know, no matter it's private sector or public, right? But of course, you know, public is much more complicated, it's much more difficult. But again, I think I use my past experience as working as the executive in private sector and adapt, you know, those type of effectiveness in management, you know, to better manage the city.
So after asking you a lot of questions, you seem to be very confident when you speak. So if you know up to 75% of people around the world have suffered from glossophobia or fear of public speaking, could you give us some tips to becoming more confident and a better public speaker?
Yes, I could understand that not everybody, you know, could be speak in the public, you know. But the thing which is very important to me is that you need to practice. I think practice is one of our very key success. It's like for me, I'm very shy when I was young. I could not even speak in public in general, or even in English. I'm not studying in international school like yourself. I study in Thai school. Okay, I have a chance to work for big corporations, so I speak English almost every day when I work in the company or study in the US. But again, I would say practice is very important, and that's number one. Number two is like you need to have your family, your parents, or your friends, or the teacher at school to be a supporter. That's very important, you know, to help support you. Even though you may not very successful in the first place as the public speaker. But if you get a very good practice, you have a very good supporter, and you have it's like the pilot. You have to fly a lot, you know, to gain your momentum, right? To gain your experience. It's the same. You know, when I look into your question that you sent to me, it's a lot of questions, and it's that private, public, it's that governor, and then entrepreneur, and then big corporation like Pizza Hut. So if I have to work like A, B, C, D, it's very difficult to shift my brain at this age to answer your different questions at the same time, right? So that's experience. Experience that has been practiced and experience that have been, or even right now, I don't use English every day. I'm not studying international school like yourself. I'm not speaking English with my family, right? I speak Thai. But again, that helped because I gained some experience. And that's helped me be confident, and sometimes I not truly understand your 100% of your question because of generation gap or your intent question, okay? But I know what you're looking for, you know, as the answer, okay? So that's how I try, I work very hard to respond, you know, to your question.